AskReddit by would score so pain. What is the most out of touch thing that a rich person has said to you? Not so much said but more done. I once had a customer inform me that he had a time sensitive package being delivered and to keep an eye out for it and to let him know. It arrived and being curious I asked him what was in it. I wouldn't usually do that but we both got on well. Basically he explained how he got fish imported along with many ice packs to keep it as fresh as possible. He commented that it wasn't cheap but it was worth it. He then promptly fed it to his dog. Lol, okay, that's just kind of unhinged and I like dogs a lot. I don't understand missing a flight. The pilot knows you are coming. He will wait. Guy never flew commercial, only charter. I know a guy who is a personal assistant to a very wealthy guy and he said he has to remind him when flying commercial that the plane won't wait for him on that trip to get him to head to the airport on time. Why don't you just buy a new car, dude? It's 20k, is that a lot? I think you're legally allowed to rob someone who says this to you. Me. Damn, my paycheck was smaller than I thought. I can't go on the trip anymore. Sorry man. Him. Your parents don't give you a credit card? Me. I'm 23, and no, my parents have never given me money or a credit card before. Him. Oh, so it's in a trust? Me. Dude, I'm poor. I don't have any money. Oof, so it's in a trust. I have taught quite a lot of rich kids piano. One couldn't comprehend that I didn't own a boat. Another didn't understand that the reason I, unlike his parents, don't own a Steinway grand piano is because 1, I'd need a mortgage to buy one and 2, I literally don't have a single room in my house that's big enough for it. One of the clients in the bank I worked at, oh, you have no idea what a pain it is to own 2 houses and a cottage. Try not to own more than 1 house. Thankfully I've dodged that bullet. Wealthy boss said, my dad always says, if there's a problem that can be fixed with money, then it's not really a problem. Spoken like someone who's always had access to money to solve problems. To the wealthy, money is like tap water. It's just there and they can use it as needed. It literally does not occur to them that it's not like that for most people. I'm not rich. The owner of 2 car dealerships right before she took her extended family to Jamaica for 2 weeks. People's definition of rich seems to change as they themselves become richer. My grandfather showed me a piece of paper with all of his calculations to let me know that I, with no savings and little income, would be better off financially if I bought a house prior to starting grad school instead of renting a place. He did not offer to buy a house for me or front me any cash to do so. I myself recently went through a bit of this. You will save a lot of your income over your lifetime if you buy a house instead of renting an apartment. Here are the calculations. Thanks for that great info, Grandpa. However, I cannot really afford a down payment for a house. Could you help get me started with this house buying project though, so I can start saving all that money? Of course not. How will you learn financial independence if we just give you money for things? I asked a friend to help me pick up a couch I was buying and he said that he'd be happy to help, but hadn't ever moved furniture before. After moving it about 20 feet towards the car he asked to stop. He told me that he felt like he must have been doing it wrong, because it was hard and his hands and arms were getting tired. I was like, dude, that's just what manual labor is. I worked as a mover one summer and while taking a washer down a narrow staircase with a low hanging ceiling I thought to myself, isn't there someone we can pay for this? Oh fuck, that's us. If you don't like taking the bus, buy a car. I was out of work and going on it and they asked if I had any other expenses besides rent, utilities, and I said yes, car insurance. They said a car is a luxury, so I said I can't get a job unless I have a car, right? She said yeah, I guess that's true, but you don't have a job now. so it's a luxury. The world isn't on track to meet its climate goals and it's the public's fault. ExxonMobil Corporation. CEO Darren Woods. That's for the thread. What's the most out of touch thing that a rich person has ever said, which is another good AskReddit question. Not to me, but on Facebook a friend who worked at Google was complaining about other friends who won't pay for a babysitter to go out. This was like 10 years ago and he said, "What does it cost for a night? Like $250? He was rightly roasted for it. Well, I am in no sense rich, but I don't have kids, so I confess that I too have no earthly idea how much a babysitter costs. Just take a year off work or something. I'm a teacher. I don't make money when I'm working. I definitely can't take a year off. I don't understand why people complain about money problems. Just work harder and you'll be fine. Me constantly working overtime weekdays and weekends and not getting anywhere. Not to me, but years ago I had a nail client who was the housekeeper for a very famous somebody. Dude had her replace every single light bulb on the entire estate. Every 6 months she, her family, friends, neighbors, favorite manicurist, and salon didn't have to buy light bulbs for years. Well, that just sounds like a win-win all around. One of the guys I worked with kept having persistent car troubles and was late for work a couple times. The VP of the company said, "I can't understand why you guys just don't buy a new car." We were making $10 per hour at the time. Also, the company paid for his car lease. Answer: I make $10 per hour. It's one banana, Michael. What could it cost $10? My favorite quote from the whole show, Mayo. I bought an ex of mine a thoughtful gift for our first Christmas together and then never got anything in return. His reason? My family doesn't give gifts on Christmas, cause what can you buy a rich person that they can't already buy themselves? Then proceeded to laugh. He most likely said other really out of touch things cause he was a definition of a trust fund kid, but this stuck out to me a lot and was one of the many reasons that led to me breaking up with the guy. So that meant that he shouldn't buy one for you. I didn't find starting out as an entrepreneur problematic. My wife was working and we owned the house, and could just use my savings to get a $100K loan, which I didn't end up needing because I had connections that picked up my business almost immediately. When asked about the government drive to get students to create startups in an environment when business owner is barred from the student benefits and students are barred from the business benefits. This person sits in the current government and is close to getting a cabinet position. In my mid-20s, circa early 2000s, dude who owned multiple dental practices told me there's plenty of homes I can afford. By him there are some that are only $500K or $750K. This is 20 years ago. I was barely making $50K per year. My old boss told me and other employees during an imminent hurricane, just buy your family a plane ticket somewhere else while the hurricane passes. Like, okay, sounds good except I need a raise. Anytime someone rich tries to give me financial advice and leaves out mortgage, car costs, because someone in their family literally gave them a house and car, I think most people would be in a better spot if their two largest expenses were gone. If someone gave me a house or a car for free, I would sell it right away. I cannot afford the running expenses. Having a house that you have to keep in good condition is not cheap. First job didn't offer health insurance, so owner would give me a $50 bonus to use for medical expenses. Paid every other week, so he expected me to get by with $100 for medical expenses a month. This was back in 2006 to 2009 BTW. Why don't you just dip into your trust fund? There was no trust fund.